beyond that in German tents.
Yes, sir. This is in fact Yashomi has fallen short in terms of the infrastructure.
In terms of the infrastructure. So we've had to. We chose the biggest, but Yashomi is fallen short, so we put exhibition space outside. Now I'll just give you some other statistics. The growth in participation of international speakers in strategic conference IEW (48% as against 33%). I mean, I'm talking about the participation of international speakers. The event will see participation of 20 ministerial level participants, foreign ministers, deputy ministers. We have them from Qatar, UK, Russia, Brazil, Tanzania, Venezuela, heads of international organizations, head of OPEC, IEF, IEA, and so on. 90 CEOs from Fortune 500 energy companies. Will feature the Avinya Energy Startup Challenge 2.0. The winners will be announced there. Ujana Voka Private Limited, so I won't go into that now. Vasudha, which is a global challenge for upstream startups in oil and gas. 17 overseas entries received. Top 2 startups will get it. Pavilions and zones. We've got 10 country pavilions. The biggest is, I think, the United States with 246.
Germany.
Sorry, USA. Okay, sorry. Germany is even bigger, 324 square meters. USA is 246. Norway is 236. A lot of them at 150, 156. And 2 countries at 48, Canada and Denmark. So 10 country pavilions will be there. There will be 8 thematic zones with areas ranging from 350 square meters to 1951 square meters. They'll cover petrochem, India net zero, hydrogen, oil, renewable energy, biofuels, make in India, CGD, LNG ecosystem. The Siam is setting up a sustainable mobility pavilion under the theme People-Centric Mobility Ecosystem. They are going to showcase 15 models of cutting-edge technology for 2W, 3W, 4W vehicle categories demonstrated by 10 equipment manufacturers. And some of the innovative exhibits, I'll request the Secretary to list them and also give his comments, and then we'll open up for questions.
So some of the things which definitely, if you are able to take out some time, we would recommend that you go and visit. At the ONGC Pavilion, there is a simulation game to understand deep sea operations of a remotely operated vehicle, which is called ROV, to see how they go deep inside the oceans, how they fix things, if a platform is not working, if something has to be done down below, what is to be done. HPCL's first indigenous 500 watts solid oxide fuel cell system, that would be on display. They're also showcasing what they call HP Accelerate, which basically is a flex fuel conversion kit. There was a lot of interest in terms of understanding when higher blends of ethanol come in petrol, what do I do with existing vehicles? Can I retrofit them? So this is something which may be of interest, that how do you do a flex fuel conversion kit? Particularly for older, even older version of two-wheelers, can you put something? So that should be recommend, that's something which you can look at. BPCL will be showcasing an ATM for LPG, which means that instead of a 14.5 kg cylinder, how can you go to an ATM and get LPG for almost like a sachet for LPG? How can you get that? They have a working model of tidal waves. There is from OIL, there is a digital monitoring of real-time drilling operations. EIL is talking about how they are going to be using geothermal energy at Leh Airport. So we have just been doing geothermal exploration in Ladakh, and they talk about this. CSIR will be displaying India's first e-tractor, which they have developed. In fact, it has traveled over the weekend, especially travel for this. So these are some of the things which we would definitely invite you to have a look at, apart from a hydrogen bus, which will be taking that is something which is again a highlight, which we'll be seeing moving around the campus. In addition, the abstract of the papers, for those of you who are technically minded, there were 2,700 technical papers being presented. The upstream startup challenge this time has been particularly unique because this was open to startups from across the world. And our winners are, they will be obviously from startups from who are competing on a world platform. And that's a new thing which has started this year.
No, thank you very much, Pankaj. Before we came here, Pankaj and I were having a discussion. So it's like, how much do we share with them? So if we say we share too little, maybe you'll say, it's all that is. If we share too much, then we don't want you to say that you can write your story here. So we've done what a good sound approach is. We give you a little bit, etc. There are many more things that you can see there. Last year, I remember when we took the Honorable Prime Minister round, there was an indigenously manufactured electrolyzer, and it was in collaboration which BPCL had done with BARC. For our submarines, we break up the water this thing to produce oxygen to breathe within the submerged platform. So there are a lot of exciting things. There were last year, there were this year. But I also want to tell you one more thing. This is the first energy event of the year. All right, we are in the month of February, and lots of exciting things are happening in the world. I mean, some of you are more familiar with the daily doses of excitement which we hear from all different parts of the world. Therefore, I think IEW 25, apart from showcasing what can be done in the E&P sector, what can be done in the technology sector, is also a great platform with immense potential to network between companies, between representatives of governments, and you will have all shades of opinion of policymakers who have a very important role to play. I mean, I'm not saying we've got the people who are to actually take the decision, but people close to them. We have a very strong US IBC delegation. We have, we'll have a session with them, with their CEOs. We have people from UK, the energy secretary there. We have from Norway. We have from the Middle East, Qatar. We have other places, and we have the Russian delegation here also. I met the Russian minister a few days ago. And so it's a place where a lot of what's happening in the world can also be discussed. And I think that's what makes it special. But more than that, I wanted to tell you that I am particularly keen that this message reaches out wide. It goes to our students. We have a lot of emphasis on students from the technical institutes, IITs coming. It reaches the younger minds. I remember when I was a few years old, if I went to the Pragati Maidan and saw an exhibition, something stuck in your mind. But here, advances in technology are being made, cutting-edge advances which are taking place. And therefore, I think it's very important that, and this exhibition is open, free to everybody. The technical sessions cannot, because you cannot have more than 500 or 1,000 people in a room. Because if you do that, then it'll become beyond control. So the technical sessions some of them are under, by invitation. But please spread the message. There's a beautiful metro system. When I travel from here to Yashobhumi, I take the metro. It's about 17, 18 minutes from Shivaji Stadium to Yashobhumi. So thank you very much. I think in terms of providing you a teaser, if I can call it that, it was a long teaser, but we'd be happy to answer any questions. We have a little time before I start my next session, so please feel free to ask questions. Rajiv will moderate it. Identify yourself, and then we'll try to answer it.
Yes, we can start.
Sir, as you mentioned that IEW will also be a platform for exchanging of ideas between governments and organizations. Could you get us more color, sir? Because energy transition India is parallelly working on energy transition, securing its energy supplies. So then you stand at a very fine, you walk a very fine line. So how will you leverage IEW to, sir,
No, I think it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process. When we talk about energy transition, what specifically are we talking about? When energy transition, we are saying you have to move away from traditional fuels to biofuels, to green hydrogen, etc. So here is government policy, but apart from that, there are also the economic interface. If you talk about biofuels, all our participants in the biofuels industry are there. Okay? All our participants in the green hydrogen ecosystem are there. I don't want to name individual companies, but you found that they've all got stalls there. All the people who are making pipes for transportation of fuels, they're all there. So I think the sheer presence, look, make no mistakes, as far as the government is concerned, I mean, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, we have sessions ongoing with I will be having bilaterals with my counterpart ministers. I will also have bilateral meetings, they're not bilaterals, standalone meetings with the CEOs of the company. Secretary will have that. But more important than that is our CEOs will be having, and we've got 50%, but not 50. Private sector is pretty dominant. By the way, we talk about OMCs, but I want to acknowledge the fact that we have one of the largest refineries in the world, which is 60 million metric tons.
64. Yeah? 64 million metric tons.
64 million metric tons per annum in the private sector. So we have a vibrant private sector in this. We have a very vibrant state sector, OMCs, and we have a government. And we are now also hoping to, I should say about this now, 10th round. We've had 9th round of OALP, open acreage licensing policy. We've had 9 rounds of bidding. We're hoping to do the 10th round during this thing. So, what does it add up to? It adds up to, yes, you have to do ENP, and we are securing some recent successes. We've got some navigation to do in the Andaman Sea. We need some help from other global majors in terms of seismic survey. We are signing a couple of MOUs today also, immediately after this. We are also, that 20% biofuel blending, we were supposed to actually achieve 6 years from now. So we are not doing it 5 years in advance, we're doing it 6 years in advance. Then green hydrogen, I mean, you're talking about a bus, but it's not the bus. The IOCL has actually issued a big tender in which there are a number of participants. So, first somebody has to come up with a policy, then they have to design it, then he has to issue a tender, then people participate. That's how the ecosystem builds.
Sir, one item.
Yeah.
Sir, last year, a long-term energy deal was announced
With Qatar.
with Qatar and IED.
No, but that's something I will not speculate on, because even there, you see, we have a long-term agreement for supply of natural gas with Qatar, which is valid till 2028. Now that had been in negotiation for a long time. It just so happened that the culmination of it was arrived at in 28. Now we have similar long-term deals going on with a lot of companies and countries. It's not correct for a minister to say what, because why do I anticipate that today I'm signing an MOU on 2 of them? You'll get the details, but it's not correct for me. Let the companies first sign the MOUs, then the details will come out. It's an ongoing process.
Sir, Sanjay from Arab News, then Nidhi after that. Sanjay, please.
Sir, this is Sanjay from Arab News. My question is about how many companies and countries from the Middle East are participating in this event, and what are your expectations from the Middle Eastern countries?
How many companies? I can give you accounts very soon. It's very, very easy to do. But let's face it, whenever you talk about energy in the Indian context, the Middle East is a very central part of our system. I mean, we have very dynamic supply, purchases taking place from Saudi Arabia, from the UAE, from Iraq, from Kuwait, gas from Qatar, and more contracts are taking place. So I would say it's of the highest importance. And the number of companies I can check up. I didn't keep that granular data with me, but we'll let you know.
So, Nidhi.
Sir, you mentioned about the presence of US team.
Did I mention the president?
Presence of US team.
US team. I thought you said president of USA. I never mentioned that.
Will there be some discussions on sourcing energy from US during the IPO?
No, listen, madam, sourcing of energy from US, we're buying $20 billion worth. I have already seen press reports by a lot of people that now the Honorable Prime Minister is going to be there in a day or two. I mean, he's going to Paris for the AI Summit, which is co-chairing, and then he'll be going to Washington. I mean, I'd be surprised if sourcing of energy from the US does not figure in the talks. I'd be surprised. I mean, it's something in the natural, discussion. As I'm very fond of saying, when I was Joint Secretary on the Americas desk, if somebody had told me we will buy even $1 billion of energy from there, I would have maybe been surprised. Today, you're buying $20 billion worth. And with President Trump saying that he wants to see global prices come down, with President Trump saying that he wants more and more energy to come onto the market, I mean, for countries like India, that's a very positive development.
So there will be some discussions during your mentioning that PM and President Trump's.
When Honorable PM is having discussion with President Trump, मैं क्या discussion करूँगा यहाँ पे? The discussion level has been raised.
Prakash, Priyadarshan, please.
Sir, my question is on Canada. The Prime Minister visit to US. What are major expectations?
This is a question that should take it to the MEA 4 o'clock briefing. Yeah? I am talking about the IEW and energy. No, it's a very important visit. It's a very important visit. The visit has been preceded by discussions which my colleague Mr. Jaishankar has had during a visit there. And when he went there, he had a Quad meeting also. So, our relationship with the United States is a bipartisan, very broad-based, very strong relationship. And you can expect with the new president elected there, with whom the Prime Minister has already had excellent interaction in the earlier term, you can certainly expect some very positive discussions there.
Mr. Manoj,
Actually, what prospect, Minister Sir, do you see in regards to import and incentivize production of critical minerals in the relation with nuclear energy and also with the battery-related electric energy?
No, I would think that both these have been very well flagged in policy statements. The fact that a critical minerals mission has been established, it's been approved by the cabinet. The very fact that some of our oil companies are actually looking at critical minerals as well. So I think there is a realization that in the energy mix that is going to evolve, critical minerals will play a very important role. So that there's no question on that. But that is also to be accompanied by domestic changes. Earlier there were some constraints. Now there is one impression around that, most of the world's critical mineral resources have already been earmarked and acquired. I don't buy to that theory.
1 lakh megawatt has to come from only nuclear energy next.
So on nuclear energy also there have been some very good statements, some very positive sign. You're looking at modular small reactors, etc. I've seen statements by the government that they are going to revisit some of our laws, etc. But as I said, a country develops with several developments taking place, several wheels moving in tandem. So there is movement on E&P here, there is biofuels, there is green hydrogen. We are now talking about coming back to nuclear energy. I mean, there was a time where so much discussion on nuclear energy in the time of a previous government, but no commercial contracting took place for whatever reason. There may have been problems in reactors elsewhere, etc. But today, I think we are beginning to look at all that. And frankly, to reach net zero effectively, you need all these.
Nuclear energy is the cheapest mode of source of energy.
Yeah, if you get it there. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Mr. Paul, economist.
Hello there, sir.
Hi.
I just want to get an update of how natural gas is progressing in the build-out. So your goals to 2030, 15%. And a little bit on how you see natural gas. Is it more of a fuel for switching from coal and as a cleaner fuel? And how much is a security fuel, like meeting the demands of the energy needs of your population in the future?
I think you've asked a brilliant question because insofar as objectives are concerned, it's very clear. It has to go up from 6 to 15%. One of my regrets is that I would have expected by this time, after we announced the 6 to 15%, we should have at least moved up to 8 or 9. We haven't, but we will get there. Now, what are you going to use the gas in? You're going to use it for everything. You're going to use it for what we call CGD or domestic consumption. We have a pipeline Just now we've gone up from what, 25,000, no, we've gone up to, we have to take, no, we're at 1,20,000, no, that's connections, yeah. You're right, 14,000 to 25,000, but we need to still develop a lot more. The idea is that the domestic consumer, and I'm going to take them up one by one, the domestic consumer should be, now I think the LPG connections, liquefied petroleum gas, which is the product of a refinery, that's more or less saturated in the country. If you accept that we have a population of 1.4, that is 140 crores, 1.4 billion, 140 crores. If you accept that we have 33 crore connections, then, and every connection caters to 4 people, then we should have near saturation insofar as LPG is concerned. But the idea is to take piped natural gas to every household, which will be, it's 20% cheaper, it's cleaner. But we are not going to stop there. You need gas for so many parts of our industrial economic system which has been undermined because of the lack of availability of gas. I mean, power plants, cement plants, the like. My reading of the international market is that we are in 2025. By 2026, you will already begin to see a major increase in the availability of natural gas. Please correct me. And that's why, apart from the long-term deal with Qatar, maybe more gas from Qatar, maybe other sectors, our companies are also looking at more. Plus, we expect the price of gas also to come down, because availability combined with affordability will see the deficits being filled. How quickly can I get from 6 to 15%? My target still remains the 2030 target. But again, I don't worry about this too much, because, you know, when we started on biofuels, let me give you an example. I belong to an era as a civil servant where we never got beyond 1.5%. When I joined this ministry 3.5 years ago, I said, will we get there? Will we not get it? But once it starts moving, we got 10% by November 22, which was a target 5 months in advance. We have a target of 20% by 2026. We're going to get it done maybe this month or next month. Similarly on gas, with more contracts being signed, more, you also need greater amount of infrastructure at the port of importation, because to liquefaction and gasification and so on. I am cautiously optimistic that we will reach the 9 and 10% figure before too long, in order to target that 15% by 2030. Sorry, but a lot of, if you have a granular discussion, I'll tell you, there's so many of my power plants which would really, just hearing the news, they would come alive, that gas is coming in. Yeah.
Yes, madam, please.
Sir, you mentioned that you met the Russian energy minister a few days ago. So could you please share with us some details what topics we discussed?
No, I put out a detailed statement. I put out detail that we reviewed the existing arrangement. We looked at the potential for further cooperation, etc. I've already put it out in a tweet.
So how do you assess the prospects of Russian oil supplies to India?
No, as I said, it's a very well-known story. We issued tenders at the point of importation. All right, those tenders are open to any supplier, and we buy from the cheapest source possible. Today, we have a situation in which from 27 suppliers, we have now, 39 suppliers. Actually, we added Argentina. Argentina the other day. So we've got imports from 40 countries. Some countries, because of price advantage, proximity advantage, suddenly it goes up. Some it falls. For instance, I think when I was associated with this ministry, out of the 5 million tons, 5 million barrels per day that we used to import and consume, we were in a situation of buying roughly equal amounts from 5 suppliers, 800,000 barrels from UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq. Then things changed. Things changed. Suddenly we were able to, after the price cap came into being, we were able to get Russian oil. Russian oil increased. In between, Iraq oil went up. It's a very dynamic situation, but we are open to imports from all sources.
Sir, can you give some details on who all are coming from Russia? Some names from the
I will be happy. I think Minister Sorokin is there. Is there? Others also. I don't remember offhand. I remember the main ministers. He's there because I know he's in a panel. We have Secretary of Energy Miliband from the UK. We have the Qatar Deputy Prime Minister, Energy Minister. So all the details we'll make available. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sir, you talked about 90 fortune CEOs coming, and you talked about 90 fortune CEOs coming.
Yeah.
To India Energy Week.
Yeah.
And lot many ministers also joining from other countries. So, what is your expectation in terms of the number of agreements that you are planning to sign?
No, you see, when you organize a platform like this, many of the CEOs who have meetings with their counterparts are already in touch with them. It's not that they're meeting them the first time. They meet each other in Adipec, they meet each other in Gastech, they meet each other in different venues. So for them, it's a continuous process. So I don't think it's correct for us to say that this meeting resulted in this. I'm not in this game. I was a diplomat for 39 years. So anybody puts out a figure like, oh, this meeting took us so many. It's not like that. Contracts are taking place all the time. When companies, it's a win-win. India today offers an opportunity for enhanced production. India today offers an opportunity for enhanced importation, for enhanced biofuels transition, for green hydrogen, the works. So many of these companies are involved in different. One area we didn't talk about is sustainable aviation fuel. We had a very big, now if the European Union 5% mandating comes into being, India will become one of the biggest suppliers along with countries like Brazil, because you need biomass, you need your others. So these are all things happening as we speak.
Shailesh from ANI.
सर पिछली 2 बार से जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर इनॉग्रेट कर रहे हैं, तो क्या कल भी जो इनॉग्रेशन प्राइम मिनिस्टर?
हाँ, वही करेंगे, बट वर्चुअल होगा.
सर पिछली बार जो है आईए ने रिपोर्ट करी थी इंडिया की एनर्जी डिमांड को लेकर.
अरे
OPEC वगैरह से हम क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं?
देखिए, IAEA की जो रिपोर्ट थी, जहां तक मुझे याद है, उन्होंने ये कहा था कि आने वाले 2 दशक में जो विश्व भर में एनर्जी की डिमांड बढ़ने वाली है, उसकी 25% डिमांड इंक्रीज इंडिया से आएगी. दैट होल्ड्स ट्रू. आई डोंट थिंक IAEA has revised it since last year. Huh? No, I have no. You want to give everything to them now? I am quite happy, but.
Yes, please. Yes, you have a question, sir.
सर आप सोलर एनर्जी की बात कर रहे हैं, तो उसकी जो स्पेस ऑक्यूपेशन है, उसकी जो लाइफ है, हम ये 95-93 से सुन रहे हैं कि सेंट्रल इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स इसके ऊपर काम कर रहा है, बट अभी तक हम जो एडवांस कंट्री है उनसे कितना पीछे है और कितनी इसमें हमें आवश्यकता है
देखिए,
कि हम इसको मतलब थोड़ा सा नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी में.
देखिए, जहां तक सोलर एनर्जी और टेक्नोलॉजी की बात, आई थिंक दिस इज अ रॉन्ग प्लेटफॉर्म, द रॉन्ग गाय टू आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन टू. क्योंकि आई हैव नेवर हैड एनीथिंग टू डू विद द सोलर मिशन, बट हाँ, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट solar now in a different context. We are talking about solar in the context of green hydrogen, where we are talking about pump storage, etc. But this would be Khattar Saab, no? Prahlad Joshi ji se पूछिएगा. As far as I know, we are now, our energy talk is now on ENP, on green hydrogen, biofuels, etc. So that, how much we are behind somebody or not, I frankly am not familiar.
Yes, sir.
Sir, again, I wanted to go back to an earlier question. If you could give us some sort of an idea about the size and the nature of the Russian delegation, and also,
I cannot give you the size of any delegation, because frankly speaking, as a minister, these things don't come to me. I have told you these are the countries which are participating, these are the country pavilions, etc.
And so also I wanted to understand, in view of the latest US sanctions, ROMCs were understood to be,
Yeah, how many times have I told you I'm not aware of Russian oil being under sanction? I just saw a report. Huh?
the shipping.
Arey bhai, I told you we issued tenders at the point of importation.
So my question is different. I wanted to understand that, ROMCs were jointly negotiating for a possible term deal with the Russians. Has that have those timelines been affected in any way in view of what the US sanctions?
Arey bhai, dekho, energy is a very dynamic sector. Till a few months ago, Venezuela was supposed to be taboo. Today, all the signs I am seeing, I think Venezuelan oil may come on the market soon. At least there's some exemptions have been made. Look, I don't get into those things. What our companies do or don't do. We are very clear. If something is under sanction, they will not go there. But on the other hand, insofar as Russia is concerned, let's be very clear. Even today, Europe is buying 25% of its gas from Russia. I saw some chart. They are buying other critical stuff from there. So let's not get into this. I don't know if you're working for a Western agency. You're not. Okay. Where are you working for? Indian Express. Oh, then it's all the more surprising. Because, coming from my two fire brigade friends, I've tried to explain, even at the height of the so-called problem, energy through the pipeline to Russia, to Hungary was coming in without any problem. Energy coming in from the pipeline to Japan was coming in, no problem. So there was a price cap. Now, if you are a minister like me who's looking at the price cap, I'll say, be my guest here. You sell it to me cheaper. But our thing typically is tenders at the point of importation. It's your job to get the energy here. Okay? I'm willing to buy and I'm willing to enter into long-term solutions. But, for us, for a developing country like us, for us, ensuring availability of energy and affordability at all times is a paramount requirement.
So just one last question. Earlier, with the earlier edition of the IEW and earlier we used to have Sarah as well. The Prime Minister used to hold on the sideline would have a discussion with global CEOs.
Yeah. He did it. No, it's very simple. It's very simple. Two sessions have been held where there was a round table. But this time the Honorable Prime Minister is not here. But next time it will again happen. It's just that so happened it became those dates. When we set the dates, we had no clue to the celebration of democracy elsewhere in the world, So those dates fitted in there.
You have a question? Yes, please.
Which countries delegates from South Asia?
Huh?
Which countries delegates from South Asia are going to participate? Whether Bangladesh is one of them?
I am aware of Nepal minister there, a Bangladesh minister there. I check kar lunga, baki check kar lunga. I will check. I'll check up for which are the South Asian countries.
Sir, Goa will be now the permanent.
Goa is where the permanent facility is being constructed. It's almost ready, except that we were not confident that this third session could be held in Goa because you have to test the system. But I'm assured by the secretary and by our colleagues there that it's almost ready, and it's a beautiful facility with jetties and hotels, etc., all within the complex. And from next year onward, and hopefully weather in Goa in February continues to remain like this forever. So the Goa weather better than here, so that there is an additional attraction for people to go to Goa.
Especially in the month of February.
Huh?
I hope, sir,
I meant exactly February.
I hope, sir, the traffic is being better planned.
Where?
When you do it for the fourth year.
In Goa? Now, look, don't ask me to give you an answer which might seem to be intruding on the turf of the Honorable Chief Minister there. But I'm sure it'll be all right. But if you have it in your own complex, then you come by jetty, you don't need the traffic.
So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. अभी influencers का एकदम करना है